Okay, this is the Capital Planning Committee meeting for January 28th. This meeting is being recorded on Zoom for playback by WRPS Rockland. Thank you, Chief Llewellyn and Chief Duffy, for joining us this evening to go over your capital plans. And personally, I'd like to thank you both for everything that your departments do for the town and keeping us safe. Let's start out by going over the minutes from the last meeting in October where we just organized things for the new year. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, Doug, you want to go over the minutes?
Sure. Pretty straightforward. Call to order. We reviewed meeting minutes from March 23rd and approved those. Two abstentions for two folks who weren't present at that meeting. Reorganized the committee. Rich Harris was nominated, seconded and approved unanimously as chair. Doug Wallow as vice chair, and Jeff Leifer as secretary. We reviewed the current capital plan as well as the kind of request and review process for this year. No new business, and we adjourned.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the minutes for the last meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, excellent. Next item on the agenda is to go over the capital plan for the police department with Chief Llewellyn. I do have the capital plan request forms. Let me make this bigger. Okay. The floor is yours, Chief.
Good evening and thank you. So Doug asked that we put this on. I spoke with Doug yesterday. We had three quotes, one as low as 67,000, I believe it was. Unfortunately, that was from a non-prevailing wage company. This quote at 112,400, and we had another one at 167,000. So there was a wide disparity. Deputy Chief Aramo, who's having some computer problems, was going to be with us tonight, but he called this company and wanted to make sure the quote was still good because we got it in February of last year. We have to add $5,000 to that price for increase in material cost. So that would be 117,400. We've been limping along with the roof at the police station. We've patched it on a number of occasions. We did have one problem over one of my secretary's office where it leaked pretty bad. We had to replace an entire wall and some rug in that room because of the leak. And now it's continuing to leak where the two roofs come together. We have a flat roof, which is a flat rubber roof, and then the traditional roof. Where those two come together, we're having some leaks now. Fortunately, that's just going into the Sallyport area. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would put this at about a 6. You know, it's not up in the 8-9 range yet, but the building is now 22 years old. So at some point we are going to have to address this. I know it's a big expense, but I think it's time we at least get it on the timeline, you know, so we're all looking at it.
Okay.
Have any questions?
Hi, Chief. Oh. Just a quick question. You're saying that it's a 6 right now. How, I know you're not probably a construction person, but how long do you think it would get? How long would it be before it got to be like a 9, 8 or a 9 or a 10?
I'm gonna say 3 to 4 years, probably.
Okay.
Again, we're at that 22-year mark and we've been patching it, so um, I'm assuming low bidder when the building was built, so it's not the best quality.
If you don't mind me jumping in, the other thing that you might take into consideration down the road is, after talking to the lowest bidder today, the increase is somewhere between 7 and 10% each year. And that's for the cost of the material, not so much the labor. So those are things that we need to think about as we move forward.
The deputy chief was good at figuring out his computer issue, so we're lucky to have him.
Sorry, I'm late.
How much of the quote is material?
Looking back at it, he said it was approximately, I think, what did he say? 40. It was 45,000 for the material, and the rest was labor.
Yeah, it was 45,000 because it was going to be a 10% increase, which put us at about a $5,000 increase. So
Right.
So quick question, I'm trying to, I recall our conversation about roofs last year as well. And you guys had some pictures or schematics I remember we looked through as well. So there's 2 roof components that we have on the capital plan now, right? This quote right here where it says new roof on the station, is this asphalt? Is this the rubber roof, or is it both? Is it all of the roofs that need to be addressed?
no, it's just the asphalt roof. The rubber roof is going to be an entirely different animal, and we had a lengthy conversation about this today. We're holding off on the rubber roof because the air conditioning unit that is on that flat rubber roof is going to need to be replaced at some point down the road. So we don't want to go messing with that roof until and if and when we bring a crane in and remove that air conditioning unit.
That's right. That jogs the memory. Thank you.
Yeah, and I show that on the capital plan here. Is last year we had the asphalt roof for 112,400. So essentially that price is the same, except we're going to move that into fiscal year 2022.
Yeah, I would add the 5,000 to that also, Rich, to make it 117,400.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so we have the AC and the rubber roof in here in 2023. Do you think that's going to be 2023, or are we going to try and get to 2024, or what is the feeling on the AC unit?
You know, I'm going to defer to the deputy on that one. We did talk about that as well today. We've been limping along with it, and knock on wood, it's been running well. I would love to say 2023 or beyond, but I just think we need to keep it out there, knowing that at some point it's going to go.
I think we've done a pretty good job with yearly maintenance agreements and stuff, taking care of it. So I've done my best to make sure that it's cleaned regularly, and there's not a lot of strain on the unit itself. So, you know, conservatively, I think we could do a few more years on it without any big major issues going on.
Okay, so why don't we, excuse me, I'll put it in the capital plan for next year, and then we'll revisit it then. Excuse me. We'll revisit it next year. If we can push it out another year, we'll push it out then.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have it here on the plan for 2023 with the 140,000. Now, is that also going to go up each year by $5,000?
More than likely. You know, every year, everything seems to go up. So the cost of the install, the deal with this is that we have to bring in cranes and other major equipment to lift it up off the roof. And I believe that 140 quote also is the rubber roof repair also. So it's kind of 2 birds with 1 stone if and when we have to do it. When they came out and looked at the rubber roof the first time, we found out that it's the asphalt roof that's causing us the major problems, and it wasn't so much that rubber roof. but you can see where the rubber roof is starting to pull away at certain locations on the building, and that hopefully can be
Okay,
fixed
no
and
problem,
just
sorry.
put some insulation and maybe some rubber patch repair on there, and that should get us by.
So you mentioned earlier that 7 to 10% increase for the asphalt roof quote. Do you
Yeah,
think maybe we ought to escalate this one? So this quote that we have here for the 140, that was from last year, correct?
Yeah,
yes.
So I wonder if we should escalate it, 10%, or actually maybe 10% twice, right? To get to what it would actually be in FY23.
When I talked to the vendor today from Associate Roofing, he said 7% was a good number to figure.
Okay. So I'm getting just north of 160,000 if we push that out 2 years from when the original quote was. Is that?
yeah, because 7% is about 10 grand, so. So if this was last year's quote, we'll put this in here at 160. And then when we get closer, we'll have to get I'm sure you'll get a better estimate at that point in time anyway. But at least we have it on the books. The other item that the police, is there any other questions on the roof? Okay. The other one is the standard 2 police cruisers. So, and that's in there.
So Richie, as
Well,
you may know, Richie, we only got one this year, because of the budget issues and things. We've actually done really well over the years by getting the 2 cruisers. We've dropped our cruiser maintenance budget by probably $30,000 a year by being able to, rotate the old cars down to the emergency management auxiliary police. We've even given one to town hall, but it's reduced our maintenance budget considerably. And I just really hate to see us starting to fall back into the days of, days gone by 10, 15 years ago. We would get one car every couple of years if we were lucky. So I just want to be careful how we handle this. I know it's the first time before your committee with the cruises. There's been a lot of talk over the years about putting it right into our budget, making it part of a budget line. Finance committee has discussed that. We've talked about it with Doug Lapp also. Ideally, I think that's where it should be. I understand how it falls in your purview because of the amount of money that unfortunately they do cost us now. So it's just an expense of doing business for a police department, really.
Rich, if you don't mind me jumping in, just so I can let the chief know, because I haven't talked to him about this yet, but I do have a plan for how I believe we can get these 2 funded this year. So we'll talk more about that later.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
okay, so we have those on the plan for this year as well. Aside from the asphalt roof and the 2 new cruisers, is there anything else you need, Chief?
We are going to need down the road, we're going to need our parking lot redone. We've been hoping to work with Dave Taylor on that. But I mean, we all know how busy he's been in the past couple of years with all the road projects and everything else. So we don't actually, I don't think the deputy's on. He may or may not have a number on this, but we've been talking about it for a few years. We've actually had an officer or 2 twist an ankle and slip out there and things. So it's getting to the point, it's getting to that 6, 7 level. We are going to have to address it at some point, but if we ended up in a dirt parking lot because the budget got that way, we'd be in a dirt parking lot. But it's not as critical as a roof or an air conditioning unit, but we do need to address it.
How old is the existing parking lot? Is it original to the renovation, to the new station?
Yes, we did add on a couple of times as we had more cars and more employee parking and that sort of thing. So I don't know, Jerry, if you had any numbers on that at all?
No, I know that I've talked to Dave Taylor a couple of times, and we've meant to get together and discuss it. I know that he's talked that a parking lot that size, you'd have to come in and have it grinded all down. So that's definitely a big cost, but he said maybe there's some way he can work it into what he's got going on with other road work in the community. So I know that last year I think we paid $5,000 or $6,000 to have some of the bigger holes patched and overlaid, just to get us by for last year. And we're probably going to have to do that in the spring of this year also. There's some pretty big holes starting outside again. That's all because of the weather. And but a little bit on that police station is it was built on a bed of peat moss 22 years ago. So it moves and settles all the time with the ground as the frost heaves come in and stuff. So it just disintegrates the asphalt little by little.
Do you have a ballpark on what you think the parking lot might be, just so that I can put it on the plan in the upcoming years?
I don't. I would certainly work with Dave Taylor moving forward. If it's something that you would like me to do, I can hook up with him and we can measure the parking lot and try to come up with a number for you, just so that you could put it in there, Rich. I don't mind doing that.
Okay. Just so that we can have it, because we try to look at what projects are going to happen over the next 5 years to have a complete plan.
Yep.
So if this isn't going to be done this year or maybe next year, perhaps the year after, one will be the roof, one will be the parking lot, or whatever. But I just want to make sure that we have a placeholder for it.
Sure. Yep. I'll do that over the next few weeks. I'll get together with Dave Taylor, and then when we come up with a number, I can email it over to you.
That's great. And then we'll just put that in, 2024, and we'll see where it lands.
At the end of the day, it's just a parking lot. I mean, the building itself is more important. The roof is more important. There's other things that are prioritized. So whatever we have to do.
Exactly. I understand. Do we see anything else, Chief?
No, actually, I think, we spent a lot of money over the last few years in the building itself, updating it and, maintaining it and stuff. So we've been very fortunate with the building, and, we continue to do that. At the end of the year, when we have some money left, we've, taken a section of the building and really worked on that. So we've done a pretty good job with that, and we're in pretty good shape, to be honest with you.
Great. Okay. That brings us to the fire department with Chief Duffy.
Bye, everyone.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't have a form for the fire department for any of their specific projects, but let's take a look at the plan. Did we replace the engine one's lease last year?
So that's this year. So the final payment is this year.
Okay.
Yep.
And any movement on the fire station?
So the fire station, I've been working with Doug due to some recent developments. We're looking into, so we're going to be doing a study on due to some recent developments in growth down in the northeast end of town. We're going to do a study to look to see the best placement of a fire station. Initially we were looking at running out of one station, one new central headquarters. Now that's going to probably get changed, possibly running out of two, having some type of station or substation down at the northeast end of town.
I have a stupid question. What's considered the northeast end of town?
So the Hingham Street, Commerce Road, Reservoir Park area of town,
Okay, thank you.
down by the highway.
This is probably not for now, but I imagine that changes what equipment you need to outfit two operations. It's not a case of just taking some of what you have in the station now and moving it over there. It's reconceiving the whole operation in some ways.
That's correct, Doug. You know, we'd be able to, you know, move some equipment around and be able to work. And that kind of gets into today's request for the capital planning and requests that, you know, that have been submitted to Doug. So, which is already on the plan. There's really not much of a change to our plan. So, you know, we're kind of full steam ahead and looking at the stations and doing what's best for the town and for the people down, kind of spreading out the love around town so we can get everywhere quickly.
And Rich, if I can, I tried to just resend you the fire department form that Scott Duffy had sent in for the fire engine.
Okay.
This study, do we have a price tag on the study? I imagine you're bringing in a consultant to it or somebody to help with that
Nope.
study, or are we doing it internally?
So no, we are doing a study. The study we're hoping is going to be around 25,000. I think that's what we've allotted for it. Correct, Doug? So what we did is at the last special town meeting, so we pay for regional dispatch through the town of Holbrook. Holbrook was able to get a grant that covers our costs for this year. So we were able to reallocate some of the funds that go to regional dispatch towards this study. And Doug and Jen Constable are also working on getting a developer in one of the projects down on that end of town to hopefully pay for it. That way we won't have to spend our 25,000.
Excellent. Well, at 25, it doesn't hit the threshold of needing to be on this plan anyway. So I just thought I'd ask in case it was.
No, it was a good question. So I'll kind of continue as Rich is trying to pull that up. But so I had submitted for this year, I had submitted a request for a new fire engine. So engine one right now, engine one is 10 years old.
Guys,
I mean,
sorry, you there?
Hey, Joe.
Rich?
Yep. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
So we're looking to, so engine one, it's run 10 years. For the past 10 years, it's responded to, you know, 3,300 calls per year. It's, you know, 33,000 calls over its lifetime. It's time that this truck, you know, gets put into the reserve spot, into the backup spot, and that we get a new engine. The goal was this year and it was funded, was to purchase a mini pumper, a smaller engine, more of a pickup truck with a tank of water and equipment on it. Come to find out that those trucks are a lot longer than we expected. The whole body length of them, they're about 23, 26 feet, which is kind of the size of a regular fire engine.
Guys hear me?
While
I can't hear you guys.
Yes.
well,
Joe,
the
we can hear-
length of the truck, well, the weight of the truck would be better, but the length of the truck, we can't fit it in the current station with all the current apparatus. So we're not going to be moving forward with a purchase of that vehicle. We had a 3-year lease purchase for that. I think it was for $85,000 for that vehicle. So we will not be moving forward with that. So replacing engine one, we'd be looking at a 10-year lease purchase on a new engine. I would love to just be able to buy a new engine. The one that we have spec'd out, which is they just took the same specifications we used for engine one that we did 10 years ago and put that into a new truck. And that's about just under $600,000.
How much do we end up paying in additional fees, leasing for finance,
About
finance fees for
100,000,
leasing?
about 100,000 additional. So rough payments would be about 70,000 per year.
Sorry, how much did you say the rough payments were? I was typing.
Roughly 70,000 per year.
Okay.
So we do have an engine replacement on the capital plan right now. I think looking at Mr. Harris's Excel sheet, it's number 3. So it's already on there. And hopefully, you know, we can get that scheduled for FY22.
Okay, so this didn't happen last year then, so we'll just move this over. Because I believe the number was the same.
So this might be a question for Doug or Jeff of involvement in the finance committee. How do we go about deciding whether or not it will be, let's purchase the engine outright versus let's lease it? Because it changes how it gets reflected on the plan here, whether
Yeah.
it's 70,000 each year or whether it's, you know, 600, 650 or whatever it is.
Yep. Jeff, if you don't mind, can I jump in? Is that right? No, that's a good question, Doug. I mean, the first thing is we have to get our free cash certified because we still don't have that number. But I don't think we'll be able to fund this outright right from free cash because it's just too large a number. And to be honest, we're doing what we have to do, but some of these 10-year leases, you know, they end up adding up. And so each year we're just, we're encumbering more and more of our free cash each year. And so one thing I want to explore, I need to talk to the town accountant about this, and we'll need to talk to a lot, the selectmen, the finance committee and others, but there's another option called a capital exclusion, a capital outlay exclusion. So think of it like a debt exclusion where voters, you got to vote it at town meeting, and voters would also have to vote at the ballot because you're actually raising your taxes outside of Prop 2.5 to pay for something. But something like this, it's not like an $86 million school project where you want to bond it over 30 years and pay all the interest. It's, kind of too big to buy outright out of your budget, but sort of too small to bond over multiple years with interest. So it's essentially just a little 1-year override. It's like a little 1-year temporary tax increase. You pay for it outright. There's no interest because you're buying it outright. So your taxes go up a little bit that 1 year to pay for it. And the next year they go right back down like it was never there. So that's an option that the Department of Revenue has for towns. And I think that's something we should talk about. It's obviously a little bit more difficult because you have to get not just town meeting, but you have to get all regular voters that show up at the ballot to vote for it. But again, it's an attractive option because it doesn't encumber all our free cash. We're not paying interest. It's just a little 1-year hit and then it goes away. So.
That sounds interesting, Doug.
What's that?
It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
And this is like the right kind of size project for that type of thing. It won't be a huge burden on that. We'll figure out what the average tax impact would be, but $600,000 across the entire town's tax base is, won't be that much. So just a thought.
Does that relieve cost in the budget? So does it decrease the budget somewhere else because it's going that route?
No, I mean, all it would do would be if we didn't fund it that way, right, we'd have to somehow fund it. We're not going to be able to fund that within our operating budget. So it'd have to be an outside capital article, presumably, funded from free cash. So what that's just doing is kind of taking away that free cash that would otherwise fund other capital projects or go into stabilization or, that type of thing. But it wouldn't really help the operating budgets. So we'll talk more about that in the future, but since you asked, I figured I'd just mention it.
Thank you.
So the next item on the list that we had here was replacing the squad or the mini fire engine. Now you said that was too long.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a project that we're not gonna really be able to really look at until we can alleviate some of the space issues up the station. So that we can probably remove right off the plan, Rich.
Well, do you want to keep it on there and push it out like 2-3 years?
Joe, I don't even think, even 2 or 3 years, we'd be lucky if we had a station built by then.
Yeah.
I just don't see it, even 4 or 5 years, I just don't see us going that
What
route.
line item are we talking about here?
The squad or the mini fire engine.
Oh, all right. No, it's just a thought, because it's a 5-year plan, and if you still want it out there like 4 or 5 years, we should keep it on the plan.
No, I hear you, Joe, and I think we can remove that, and we're gonna have to, and again, depending upon how we go with 1 or 2 stations, we have to kind of look at our operations, and if we
No,
do
I get it, Scott. That's fine. We'll take it off.
Yep.
It was just a
No, I
second thought-
appreciate it.
second
It's a good
thought.
thought. Yep.
We're trying to give a good 5-year plan. If you really want it that bad, we can keep it on there and.
It's not a matter of
But you-
wanting it, it's a
Or
matter of
needing it. Well, I
we're
should
gonna
say
put
needing it. This is kind of a
Yeah.
wish list, so
right.
if you need it, you need it. You need it.
So as far from the fire station perspective, I basically just pushed it out a year.
You're gonna keep it
Sure.
there for now? Okay.
And I'm not going to leave anything in this year because they're going to be doing a study this year to figure out what they're going to do.
If you're gonna push it out, I'd push it out another year.
Yeah, do you have a sense of timeline for the study? Is the study happening in the rest of FY 21, or is it happening in FY 22, which could present I mean, if we're gonna build something, it's also then gotta be, spec'd out and brought, so
Yeah, we're
depending on
looking
where we are, is it really like FY 24 at this point?
for the station, we're probably, FY 24. So yeah, I mean, the study, we're hoping to get the study done, as far as, this year. And then it's going to be a matter of working with the developers and trying to find land, and I have a few ideas, but yeah, it's going to be a bit before we hit that point.
So FY 23 probably at the earliest, more likely FY 24.
Correct.
Okay. The radio system upgrades, did we do those?
So no, we did not have funding for those radio system upgrades. So we can
Are they going to be put in this year or?
They were not put in for this year, just knowing where we were for with the town budget, state budgets coming in, the free cash, the revenue coming in. I did not put in for it. So right now the radio system's functioning. It's working fine. We have regional dispatch, so our reliance on our radios is not as great as it was a couple years ago. So that can get pushed out to FY 23.
Okay. The replacing of the ambulance is scheduled for 2023. Is that where you still want to keep that?
Yes.
Rich, take it out of the current year, right?
Well, this year is 2021.
On the radio.
This gets hidden, Joe.
Oh, sorry.
This is
Oh, no problem. Sorry about that.
this is going to go away. I'm just using it as a gauge.
Yep. Sorry.
And the command vehicle, did we get the command vehicle last year or is that going?
We did. Yep. The command vehicle was, and it's all set.
Okay.
We take that off.
Don't need to take it off. It was in 2021 and it's.
Who's the new secretary? Is it you, Jeff?
Mhm.
Okay. I was talking, I emailed Lauren today. The old secretary. Couldn't make it tonight's meeting.
Yep, writing feverishly.
She's gonna have a baby in like a month.
Did we solve that ambulance? Is that in the right spot?
Yep, the ambulance is in the right spot.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else you can think of, Chief?
No, we're gonna have to replace one of the admin cars. So right now, the admin car, the kind of the car that the guys use to go out and do minor inspections and
What's
minor
the car?
fire alarm checks.
What's the value of that? Scott, how much? That's not, that's under 50,000, right?
Probably, yeah.
So we don't need to be concerned whether it's under 50,000.
Okay.
I mean, you do for an article for town meeting, but we don't. We're only doing stuff over 50,000 on this plan.
Yep.
All right. But thanks for letting us know.
Okay, so if there's no other questions, do we want to make a motion to accept the presentations of both the police and the fire station?
So moved.
Second?
I didn't hear the police station, so I don't want to vote on that, but I'll vote on the fire.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to second it?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
On the fire.
All right.
Well, Joe, you missed a really good presentation. I'll just tell you that.
I'm sorry about that.
It was an excellent
I wanted to
presentation.
get here for that because I really, everything
probably
going
the
on,
best
with
one I've ever
everything,
seen.
going on, I stand behind you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You guys do an awesome job.
Thank you. Got a
Yep.
good crew.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is if Chief, Deputy Chief, and Chief, if you guys want to drop off, you can. If you want to stick
You're
around,
welcome to stay.
welcome to stay. But we're all set. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Be well,
Right.
everyone.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is to go over the list of capital requests that have been submitted so far, so we can prepare to meet with those departments. I'm gonna try and schedule meetings with with some more departments for next Thursday as well. I apologize that we are a little bit far behind this year, but things have just been crazy in my life as
Is Doug still here?
yeah, Doug Lapp's still here.
Yeah, I know it's a fine, I'm sorry, I just want to, sorry to interrupt, Rich. As a finance committee, I know we were looking at the calendar of events taking place and what's going on, but there was a concern that, I mean, they wanted the capital plan, Rich, like late February, early March, and I'm sure they're gonna be pushing closer to February, which doesn't give us a lot of time. Just to let you know, but then John had questions about the schedule and he was gonna talk to you about that, Doug. I don't know if he did.
Okay.
Especially that I think the biggest item on there was that the selectmen, we were gonna submit our budget before the selectmen, which is usually reversed the other way.
All right, I'll follow up with you later. Thank you, though.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I have the budget calendar. So we have a meeting so Tuesday night, I'm going to be presenting a balanced budget to the selectmen, and Wednesday night I'll be presenting it to the finance committee. So we can talk more about that offline if you'd like.
Okay, thanks.
Since Doug's here, if we want to talk about his capital request.
Sure. Thanks, Rich. So we've done this in the past. I'm just calling it town capital projects. I gave a little bit in the description, just some examples of some of the things we've used the funding on in the past. We've done things at Town Hall. The exterior metal railings were all rusted out at the base and in danger of falling over and hurting people. We had those re-welded. Did a lot of painting, you know, the railings outside as well as interior painting. Had a lot of plumbing problems at Town Hall, so we had plumbing repairs, quite a bit of electrical repairs, both interior and exterior. So a lot of those, as well as some HVAC repairs. So, you know, mainly those examples are, you know, just repairs. We've also helped supplement things like the library parking lot. You know, it's a little bit of a catch-all. Same thing with the third floor sprinkler project at McKinley. You know, the bid was a little bit above the appropriation, so I'm supplementing the difference from this account. So it's a little bit of a catch-all, kind of in lieu of a facilities department. If we had an actual facilities department, you know, we wouldn't be looking for this. Some examples of things that I thought I might need to use it on in the upcoming year, in addition to unplanned, you know, repairs. There's a request in from the highway department for, you know, a variety of improvements to their building. So, you know, one thought I might have is, you know, maybe we don't do both. Maybe we pull off that highway department one and I accommodate that with funds that are remaining from the prior year and some funds from this. Before I got the new quote, updated quote from the police department on the roof, you know, their older quote was a lot lower. So I was thinking that might be something that could be accommodated, but these are all just examples. So it's what's particularly helpful for me, because this is capital, what's unspent can carry over and build from year to year. So for example, if we're just not able to fund, say for example, the police station roof, you know, out of free cash, you know, if I'm conservative in how I spend this money, over a couple of years, I can save up enough and fund it out of that without having to have a separate article. So it's,
Doug, can I ask you, what was last year the first year we did this, or the year before? I think it was last year.
It might be the year before. I'm not sure. You know what? I've only been here a year and a half, but it feels like it's a lot longer.
My question really is, I mean, what's your current balance left over at the year end? I would have assumed it went back to free cash, but
no, it
it's an article. It doesn't.
It doesn't because it's capital.
Yeah.
Nope, it doesn't because it's capital. And
I get it. I get it.
Yep. And I still have a healthy balance, because when I started, there was a lot of
what's that healthy balance?
But I don't have it in front of me, but there's a lot left. So it's so I'll have it for you for a future meeting.
No, the fact that you think you might be able to pay for the roof instead of them submitting themselves, that's fine.
So these are all just examples. So it's, you know, it's a little different than everything else. Everything else on here is a discrete item, you know. So if I knew, for example, I'm making this up, if I knew I had to replace the town hall roof and it cost whatever, you know, $75,000, I would just put in a thing for the town hall roof.
Yeah.
But this is, you know, again, when I get electrical problems and plumbing problems and things like that, I can't cover it out of the operating budget. I need a place to do it.
Got it.
All right, so I'll put the 75,000 in for this year, and then next year you figured you had originally given us a estimate of 85,000.
75 is fine. You know, you can keep it constant.
Unless you want to lower it because you got a healthy fund.
Yep, that's true too. And no, you're right though. And I wanted to get the form into you so you could kind of put it in here. And
no, we can always change it out there.
Everything's
in the third, fifth year, whatever.
So I'll put in at 75,000 a year.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. I'm not sure what helps the capital plan more with bonding and everything like that, but.
Can I ask a question? Because this is non-specific, I don't know, I keep thinking the figure 75K is above the 50K threshold, but it's not likely that you're using any you're not using 50K out of that.
At least 50K a year
on any particular project. You're using maybe less than that. So
that's right.
I guess I'm just wondering whether or not we have to have it on here. Is there a benefit to you or to the town, to the I don't know, some type of fiscal rules that mean it should be on here? I'm just curious.
You know, Doug,
Doug, I was getting to that point myself when I was saying, I mean, how much is in there, and do you use 50,000 the whole year or? At
you
least-
know, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
No, go ahead. I am. I lost my train of thought.
Doug, I thought about the same thing coming into the meeting tonight. And I think, you know, generally I've not spent 50,000 on any one item. They've been a lot of small things that just sort of add up. So probably technically it doesn't need to be, but I think it's okay. I think it's a good thing to have it on there because the whole point of this is to plan, you know, for capital. And even though, you know, it may be a number of smaller things that add up, there's uncertainty to it. Like I said before, it could be piggy banking it for 2 years to do a $120,000 roof project. So I'm okay having it on there, even if it doesn't necessarily have to be, because it helps us plan. So if you're okay with it, it's your plan, but.
Yeah.
Should we change the name of it? Because I see on your, is it misleading to call it a town hall capital projects on our plan if you're?
Or was it just town capital project?
Yeah, I would get rid of the hall because it's not just town hall, it's any town building
Yeah,
or
which
facility.
I don't know if
you
you
know.
see, that's back on the Excel spreadsheet. It says town hall.
Or just say put, yeah, town.
Yeah,
That's easy.
No. I think it's good to have there, but if the fund keeps growing and growing, then you might be able to lessen a little bit in the later years.
I agree.
Is it something that can be moved later on? So if there's a huge surplus in there, is it something that you can move to a different line item? We could move it up to police or fire?
Good question, Jeff.
So, can you hear me? I just clicked a button on my on my Zoom. Can you guys hear me?
Oops, he
All of a
hiccuped on
sudden,
that
everything
one.
changed. Yeah, so it's when it's voted at town meeting, you know, it's got to be used for this specific purpose. So
You're right, you're right.
So
Yeah.
in the future, if things change and it's like, oh boy, we really need this money for whatever, the police department, we would just have to revote at a town meeting.
Okay.
You know, but again, but my personal feeling is if we're smart about it, you know, we have a lot of old buildings and a lot of old infrastructure, you know, there's good use of this funding.
What happened? I
It also-
hate to, go ahead, Jeff, I'm sorry.
Oh, it also sounds like police, fire, they're spending on a few items to address their buildings out of their budget. So it could be that you could use these funds for that and relieve those funds to do other things that they need to do in their budget. That might be a way. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Fund account.
finance probably gonna take a good look at that when they go through the, what's left in the general fund. Or,
Okay, so we're also gonna have the Board of Health to do the finish road at the recycling center.
you can do that.
The highway is gonna have 4 capital projects.
Is Dave submitting this in writing? Rich,
What?
is Dave Taylor submitting this in writing? He's not here. No?
No, I'm gonna have to set up a meeting with the Board of Health. I'm gonna have to set up a meeting with the Highway Department.
No, I'm just talking about these 4 you have with the highway. I didn't, all right.
I know,
Sure.
I'm just going over the capital requests that have come in so that we can
Oh.
prepare for the upcoming meetings, Joe.
No, thank you, sorry.
So,
Rich, can I answer one question that just came up? I believe the plan for the recycling center road, you know, they've done the first phase already. So what's being proposed is to properly pave it, you know, with a whole top course. So it would be you know, fully paved.
You talking about the road all the way up, Doug?
Yes.
I thought the amount we appropriated already was for the whole road. You know,
That was
you're saying it just-
that was only for phase 1. That was just like the base, bringing it up, some of the
so we have
drainage.
to do the top coat now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, it's separate?
Yeah, and we
Mhm,
talked about
right.
that it was a 2-step process. We, you know, we did what we could in the step
I-
1 the first year.
All right, I
Yeah,
thought
no,
step,
We were very clear
That's-
about that.
I thought step one was the road and step two was the open area with the recycling and everything in the shack.
Two
Sorry.
steps for the road, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the sewer department come in. I'm gonna try and see if I can get the sewer and or water department as well as the highway department for next week. I just have to reach out to Dave and the water and sewer department, because as Joe said, I know that the finance committee is gonna need the plan. And personally, I want to have the plan done so that it's
All
done.
these items were on there, yeah.
So these are just a few of the requests that we've received. I did send a bunch of them to you today. If I missed a few, I'll send them. Jeff, I can send you a copy of the minutes that we went over today, so you can see the format, and you'll have the logo and stuff like that you can copy, plagiarize, and
Yeah, I was gonna ask you for that fancy letterhead.
You just go to the town website and make a copy, I think.
I think I emailed it to everyone too before this meeting as a Word document. I just replied to your email, Rich, so Jeff, you might already have it in email.
Okay, I'll take a look.
That's funny.
all right.
Lauren would do that.
I believe Lauren also, Jeff, you might want to connect with Lauren because I think she created a spot where she had all of the past minutes. So that might be a good reference point just for other.
If you could transfer all the files or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what do I do with the minutes when I'm done typing them up?
Oh, you're supposed to be sending them off to the town clerk.
Okay.
You send them.
Once you're approved.
Once
send
they're
them to
approved.
me.
Please
This is
probably
my-
go to the,
This is my first meeting as a secretary, so I haven't had to do it yet.
all right.
Once you're done with the minutes, you'll send them to me.
Okay.
We'll go over them at the next meeting, have them approved. Once they're approved, I'll send them over to the town clerk's office.
Okay, great.
They have a file to put the hard copies in up there. I've been up there and I noticed I was looking for some they were missing.
Yeah, I'm somewhat forgetful at times. I try to remember and do it right away, but
Oh, I wasn't, I'm pointing fingers or anything.
my
I'm
life,
talking about in the past, I've gone up there before you were on the committee and I was looking for minutes because they wanted them for the bank or some Eastern bank or whatever, needed them, a copy of the plan or whatever. And it was like, wait a minute, this last year's through
so
auditing and
does anybody have any new business to bring up for the committee?
are we still short members here?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the town clerk emailed me today. or
Yeah.
They emailed me yesterday saying they were going to remove you and Doug.
Oh,
And I said, but you can't, because Joe is a member from the finance committee and Doug is a member from the school committee. I looked over the letter that the school committee sent Doug, and they didn't say capital plan. They said school building project.
oh,
So that's probably how it got confused.
I see. Yeah, they must have been thinking that that I'm a representative of the school building committee at capital planning. Even though one came before the other. Okay, I'll connect with them and we'll get that
who's
rectified.
Kaylee? Who's Kaylee? Why would they say they were going to take us off, Rich? Why would I get taken
Because
off?
your term is up.
Oh, I gotta go.
You have to get-
I have to get sworn in. I'm sorry. What's the deadline? Is there one? Did she tell you?
I imagine it was yesterday, but
Oh, all right.
so I
Well,
told
it's closed. You can make an appointment. You go in there.
I told
Oh,
them
you don't recognize my handsome mug?
Oh, good, Chris. Sorry. I saw this little chat. Who's Kaylee?
I told them not to remove you. So
All right. No, I
Jump
was
on
just
that
asking
tonight,
because I'm always trying to recruit people like I just recruited Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Kind of
Appreciate
from
that.
finance committee.
Right now, Lauren is in the middle of getting ready to have a baby, so she,
yeah,
her,
still a member that,
her term is also up, but she's thinking of having, meeting with Kevin and having him, re-enlist her again, but she doesn't know.
no,
how
that's fine. I think she should stay on the, I think she should stay on the committee. Even though she's on a medical leave.
Yeah, so she just has to, but I think she has to go and have the moderator,
Approve it all, yeah.
over again.
No, I met a woman who's, she's the manager at the bank at the Rockland Federal Credit Union across from Town Hall. And she's interested in getting on a committee but she's gonna join the finance committee next week. I mean, watch a meeting.
Okay. Well,
But keep my eye open for more people that I can run into in town and say,
we do have a couple more
Volunteer.
openings, yes.
Rich, do you happen to know which, because I know this committee has representatives that are appointed by certain groups, like the school committee, board of selectmen, finance. Do you know where for the vacancies we have, do you know which boards or committees are the ones that?
Well, there's
part
the
of it's in the charter, but I forget myself.
I believe the moderator has one.
You might have two.
The school committee, I think, has two. Finance has two, and selectman has
One, two?
one. I'm
Those two.
I'm the selectman one.
Is it just one? Is that me? I think that's me.
Then there's two because I'm one of the selectmen's one as well.
Okay.
The selectmen have two, finance has two, school has two, and the moderator has one. So I think we have one more opening on the school committee, from the school committee, and we technically have an opening
Which,
for the
I
moderator.
mean, if you know somebody, we could tell the school committee here's somebody to recommend.
We could have Dan Biggins recommend somebody.
I know, really, ask him, you know anybody that wants to join capital planning? Or does he wanna? He can be on two committees.
He's busy enough.
He can represent them, yeah. I don't think it's a problem.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. That completes the recording. Thank you.
All right.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.